to the resources of the countries they're focusing on.
Mm-hmm. Then who is General Juan Jose Zuniga, the person, leading the riot and also recently stripped of his military command?
So Zuniga is a career officer. Mm-hmm. He was appointed commander by President Arce. So there's been actually, it hasn't been a notably frictional relationship between them. But Zuniga has been denouncing the previous president, Evo Morales, who is head of the party, the MAS party, the ruling party, which now supports Evo over Arce or Lucho. In other words, there's a split in the ruling party, and Zuniga is known to be hostile to the former leader of the party, Evo Morales.
Well, the Bolivia's Attorney General's office said it had launched this criminal investigation against Zuniga and all other participants involved. How do you predict things will unfold from now on?
Well, in relation to the military, the handful of military coup plotters that they have under investigation, it seems like the course of law will unusually be followed. I say unusual because in many of the cases of interventions and coups in the past, there's been impunity. They've got away with it. In Venezuela, for example, they got away with it in the past. But the coup plotters from 2019 in Bolivia are still in jail. Former de facto President Janine Áñez, for example, is still in jail because of a large number of deaths that were involved in the military killed a lot of people who were protesting against the coup in 2019. This time, there haven't been the same sort of deaths, but it seems like that the rule of law may be strong enough to prosecute the people involved with this peaceful coup.
Well, as you already kind of mentioned earlier, this latest political showdown comes as tensions rise over plans by, leftist former President Evo Morales to run for re-election against the current President Arce, who is actually a one-time ally of Morales. The election will be happening next year. How will this attempted coup influence this upcoming election?
Well, undoubtedly it's a destabilising element there. There are frictions within the ruling party, and there have been, those frictions have spread to, for example, the judiciary. There's been disputes over the tenure and the requirement to retire of judicial figures. So there's been a thorough institutional destabilisation because of this rivalry within the ruling party. Meantime, you've got the right-wing parties from the Santa Cruz area who are linked to the US and who must be suspects in any coup because they were linked into the 2019 coup there. So it could have a destabilising effect on the coming presidential election, and it could weaken the ruling party.
Well, the country is actually contending with an economic crisis marked by dwindling foreign currency reserves, particularly the dollar, and also shortages of fuel and other basic necessities. Help us understand more about the country's economy and how does it play into this crisis?
So Bolivia is a very resource-rich country. In particular, it's got huge reserves of lithium. It's one of the biggest reserves of lithium in the world, basically, and the US officials have been very publicly drooling more or less about getting their hands or keeping their hands on. And they're very jealous, for example, if there aren't new investment plans led by Russia and China, for example, to get preferential access to those reserves. Bolivia's had reserve of gas which has run down because there's been no new investments recently. So the political destabilisation has kept up in the air, if you like, the plans for new investment in gas, in other resources and in the development of lithium. So that's why there's a lot of jealousy about who's going to get preferential access to these sorts of reserves. But Bolivia is a rich country. It's not going to fall into starvation. It produces most of what it needs, but the political instability and the failure to develop future investment plans is something that's holding it back at the moment and keeping it in a type of recession at the moment.
Well, a lot to watch for what's going on in this country, but thank you. We appreciate your time and insights. That was Dr. Tim Anderson, Director of Center for Counter-Hegemonic Studies, a Sydney-based think tank. This is World Today. Stay with us.